Bear Grylls, thank you so much for joining us here at CAIS20. We've got some very influential business minds here who are all being told to be bold in this current challenging geopolitical environment we're in. You're somebody who advocates facing your fears, learning from failure. Tell me about that and why you think it's so valuable.
Well, the whole concept of learning from failure is, it's this thing of, we learn so much more when things don't always work out right. And I look at my life and, there'd be so many failures, failed expeditions, failed projects, and but people skirt over those and they focus on the successes. But what I've learned is you only get to the successes once you go through those doorways of, the failures. And therefore I think it's something to be embraced, and it's look at failure as what it is, a stepping stone to get to somewhere meaningful. But I think as a society we've grown really nervous of failure because we think it makes us look vulnerable, but actually A, vulnerability is a great thing, but B, the failures are literally that, they're the stepping stones you've got to go through. There's no shortcut. Listen, if there's a shortcut, we'd have found it, but there isn't. You've got to embrace it. And also, that's the reward at the end. Those failures toughen you up a bit, and they build resilience, and it makes you adapt, and those things are so key in the modern world.
It equips you with tools. How long did it take you to equip that toolbox, if you like, and find that in your head that was the way to progress was to have those failures? Were you a young man when you realised that, or is that something that comes with maturity?
Well, it's interesting because we've set up BecomingX, which is all about trying to give people the tools to be able to succeed, and one of them is this thing of looking at attitude and everything. And I think for me as a young boy at school always just celebrated success, but my experience was the people who did brilliantly at school didn't always necessarily do particularly well in life, because when it all comes too easy,
there were no tests.
There's no tests, you don't learn anything. And actually life isn't a sports team, isn't an exam, and isn't rewarding the sort of popular good-looking guy. Life doesn't care about any of those. Life cares about your resilience and can you keep getting back up when you're in the storms. And ironically, I think for me growing up, having I was never that school superhero. Just staying afloat was hard. But actually, by the time I left school, the one muscle that was strong was that resilience muscle, which equips you for life. So for us, BecomingX is a lot about this, a lot about yes, skills and knowledge and building relationships and everything, but a huge part is this attitude of saying, embrace these hard times, because it's training, it's mental training.
Talking about embracing hard times, you've done a lot of fairly scary things to most people's perception. Is there something that you've done that's really scared you properly? And if there is, what have you taken away from it afterwards?
Oh my God, there've been, so, the truth is, I think fear is something I've learned to embrace every day. For me, it's like a healthy breakfast. It's a good healthy breakfast to start. I really build this into my life. But I broke my back in a freefall accident whilst I was in the military. Fear was a big part of my military life every day. Big part of expedition life. It's been a big part of my filming life. Whether it's bitten by snakes, caught in rapids, trapped in avalanches. You name it, rock falls, you name it. But I think what it's given me is an awareness of how to deal when things go wrong. And, I think especially in the modern world, this ability to think fast on your feet, stay calm in a crisis, and adapt and be nimble is really an important skill in life and in business and in so much. And the wild is a really strong kind of reflection of that. And I think if any muscle of mine has become strong over the years through the wild, it's been that one.
Talking of the wild, obviously you're going to be passionate about environment. You've spent your entire career being an adventurer in it. What are your hopes when you see an audience like this who've got the financial clout to make a difference, that they take away from a conference that has looked at environment and ESG and the things that we should be working much harder on?
Lead. And people will follow. Do stuff now that you're going to be proud of when you're old. Do stuff now that you're going to want to tell your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren that you did against the tide of pressure, against the board, against you stood up and you did what you knew in your heart was right, you know, and more we are seeing the reality of people don't now debate, you know, climate change. People know climate change. Now it's about what are you going to do? Who are going to be the leaders who stand up and act and say, no, we're going to ban plastic. No, you know, this are the steps we're going to do to reduce fossil fuel. This is what we're going to do together collectively to protect our one world. And I see the harsh realities of climate change every day when I'm filming. I really do. And sometimes I wish I could really just show everybody that close up, because it's very powerful. It's why we took President Obama into the wild. He wanted to see it actually with his own eyes, close up, you know, and I think there's something powerful about actually seeing it, you know, seeing how the flash floods are coming when they're not expected, how the droughts are lasting longer, how, you know, the fires are more severe. And I think that the heart of it is, listen, if you love something, do all you can to protect it.
You're a man of faith, that's been widely known about you. Do you think that's something that helps with that too, because you have a genuine conviction that there's something for the greater good that's got to come out, and some of these people who are just in it for themselves and have very capitalist views are not going to succeed in that sense and going forward, and not going to help this environment we're in?
Well, I think, you know, hey, love is the answer to all of these things, ultimately, whether you love the world and loving each other, you know, and it's actually heartening to hear that message spoken earlier about, what did that lady say, do unto...
The golden rule. So
the golden rule,
treat others
as you like to be treated, which is just truth, you know, it really is truth. And, you know, that's how, when you meet truly rich people in life, they're rich because of their relationships. They're rich because of how they treat other people and how the world will treat them in return. And that is where real wealth is found, you know. And it's inspiring when you're at a place like this and you see people who are true sort of world leaders and influencers understand that ultimately life is about, you know, being courageous in the big moments, but being kind in the little moments. And that's a great and important thing.
A great message and an optimistic way to end our chat today. Thank you so much for joining us, Bear. It's been great to talk to you.
Good, nice to chat to you, Emma.